The wisdom of choosing peace. Finding balance in an action-obsessed world. Seneca, a Roman philosopher who lived from 4 BC to 65 AD and witnessed the reign of two Roman emperors, Claudius and Nero, wrote in his Moral Letters,
"I don't agree with those who plunge headlong into the middle of the flood and who, accepting a turbulent life, struggle daily in great spirit with difficult circumstances. The wise person will endure that, but won't choose it, choosing to be at peace rather than at war."
It has become a cliché to quote Theodore Roosevelt's Man in the Arena speech, which leonizes the one whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, compared with the critic who sits on the sidelines. Roosevelt gave that speech shortly after he left office, at the height of his popularity. In a few years, he would run against his former protégé in an attempt to retake the White House, losing badly and nearly assassinated in the process. He would also nearly die exploring a river in the Amazon, kill hundreds of animals in African safaris, and then beg Woodrow Wilson to allow him to enlist in World War I despite being 59 years old. He would do a lot of things that seem somewhat baffling in retrospect. Theodore Roosevelt was a truly great man, a celebrated leader who embodied the virtues of courage, resilience, and tireless effort. He famously championed the strenuous life, urging others to confront challenges head-on and fight hard for their beliefs. Yet beneath his relentless drive lay a deeper compulsion, an addiction to work, action, and conflict that often pushed him to extremes. Many of us share this affliction, an inability to sit still, a fear of quiet that sends us chasing distraction. We mistake constant motion for progress, and strife for purpose. We choose war, sometimes literally, when peace would demand far greater strength. Roosevelt's life was a testament to achievement, but also to the cost of refusing rest. His hunger for danger and endless exertion wasn't always wisdom. It was often the avoidance of something harder: stillness. Yes, the man in the arena is admirable, as is the soldier and the politician and the businesswoman and all the other occupations. But, and this is a big but, only if we're in the arena for the right reasons. This passage is teaching an important Stoic lesson from Seneca. He says that it's not wise to throw yourself into chaos and constant struggle just for the sake of being busy or appearing brave. A wise person can handle difficult times if they must, but they don't choose a life of constant conflict. They choose peace whenever possible. The real wisdom is knowing when to fight and when to choose peace. Being in the arena, working hard, struggling, striving, is admirable, but only if we are there for the right reasons, not just to avoid being still or to satisfy a restless spirit. Choosing peace, when it is the wiser path, shows greater strength than endlessly seeking out battles. In a culture that celebrates constant hustle, unrelenting ambition, and the glory of battle, there exists a quieter wisdom that often goes unheard. As Seneca advised, the wise person will endure that, but won't choose it, choosing to be at peace rather than at war. This Stoic principle challenges our modern assumptions about what constitutes a life well lived, and invites us to reconsider our relationship with struggle and strife. In this era of want more, we have developed a cult of busyness. Our society venerates the warrior, the entrepreneur working 80-hour weeks, the parent juggling multiple jobs, and the student taking on excessive extracurriculars. We've built a culture that equates busyness with worthiness and battle scars with virtue. Theodore Roosevelt's Man in the Arena speech has become the battle cry of this ethos, celebrating those whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, while dismissing those who choose a less combative path. Yet upon closer examination, we might ask, how many of our daily struggles are necessary? How many battles do we choose simply because we are uncomfortable with stillness or because we've been conditioned to believe that constant striving is the only path to meaning? We are trapped in this tug-of-war between necessary versus unnecessary struggles. Consider the difference between these scenarios. Scenario 1. A lawyer works long hours on a case defending innocent people facing systemic injustice. The work is exhausting but aligned with her deepest values. Though tired, she feels fulfilled knowing her struggle serves a purpose greater than herself. Scenario 2. A marketing executive takes on projects that keep him working until midnight, missing family dinners and personal time. He doesn't particularly care about the products he promotes, but the constant activity helps him avoid confronting his growing sense of emptiness and questions about his life's direction. Both individuals are in the arena, facing challenges and working hard. But while the first has chosen a necessary struggle aligned with meaningful values, the second has chosen unnecessary strife as a distraction from deeper questions. Theodore Roosevelt embodied this paradox perfectly, and it's worth repeating in the necessary versus unnecessary struggle dilemma. As remarkable as he was sadly driven by what appears to be an insatiable need for action and conquest. After leaving the presidency, he embarked on a treacherous Amazon expedition that nearly killed him. Killed hundreds of animals on African safaris despite growing conservation ethics. Desperately sought to fight in World War I at age 59. Attempted to reclaim the presidency, dividing his party and endangering his legacy. His constant motion and appetite for challenge produced extraordinary achievements, but at what cost? And how many of his battles were truly necessary for the greater good versus fulfilling a personal need for constant stimulation and challenge? It takes courage to choose peace. Perhaps the most difficult truth to accept is that choosing peace often requires more courage than choosing war. It takes tremendous strength to decline a promotion that would bring status but destroy your family life. A step away from a toxic argument when every instinct urges you to fight back. Accept a limitation rather than battling against it fruitlessly. Find contentment in what you have rather than striving for more. Consider Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison fighting apartheid. Yet upon his release, when he could have encouraged vengeance and continued struggle, he chose reconciliation and peace. This decision required greater courage and wisdom than continuing the fight would have demanded. Let's go over some examples of wise choices between peace and strife. In public life, Warren Buffett stands in stark contrast to many financial titans. While others built empires across multiple industries and fought for every potential market, Buffett has famously avoided businesses he doesn't understand and skipped the dot-com bubble entirely. His approach of peaceful investing rather than aggressive conquest has proven extraordinarily successful. Buddhist monks in Myanmar during the 2007 Saffron Revolution faced brutal military repression with peaceful resistance rather than violent confrontation. Their disciplined refusal to engage in the violence their oppressors sought to provoke demonstrated profound strength. In personal life, the professional who declines overtime to preserve family dinner time might be viewed as less committed in our culture of overwork. Yet this choice requires courage and clarity about what truly matters. The social media user who doesn't engage with provocative content designed to trigger outrage chooses peace over the dopamine rush of righteous anger. In an attention economy designed to profit from conflict, this represents a quiet act of rebellion. The challenge is finding your balance. The Stoic approach doesn't advocate for complete passivity or withdrawal from challenges. Rather, it asks us to be intentional about which battles we choose. When facing a potential struggle, consider: 1. Is this challenge aligned with my core values? 2. Will engaging with this struggle serve a purpose greater than my ego? 3. Am I choosing this battle, or am I being driven toward it by fear, insecurity, or habit? 4. What peaceful alternatives might achieve the same or better outcomes? The middle path may be the wisest path. It lies not in complete avoidance of struggle nor in seeking it out unnecessarily, but in the discerning middle ground that Seneca described. The truly wise person has the capacity to endure hardship when it serves a worthy purpose but doesn't choose struggle for its own sake. In this light, we can appreciate Roosevelt's courage and achievements while also recognizing the wisdom in sometimes choosing, as Seneca advised, to be at peace rather than at war. The greatest victories might not be those won through constant battle, but those that come from knowing which battles are truly worth fighting. In a world that celebrates the warrior above all, perhaps the most revolutionary act is to choose peace, not out of weakness or fear, but out of wisdom and strength.